Hey everybody, welcome to Leave No Taste. Today we had some leftover apples, and so I'm going to make some apple butter. We wound up with about 2 pounds of sliced apples. I've got a teaspoon of cinnamon, a quarter teaspoon of vanilla powder, and a quarter teaspoon of nutmeg, a half cup of apple cider vinegar, 1 cup of sugar, and we're going to cook this all down and make some apple butter. This can also be done with pears, peaches, apricots, any number. It's a great way to use up extra fruit that you have, or if you go to your farmer's market or something and there's like a bumper crop, bunch of apples, and you don't know how to eat all of them or use all of them, this is a great way to make some quick preserves. Someday we will get into a little deeper into canning and jarring and hot packing, but today I only had a few apples left over, so we're going to cook them down, and this is probably going to be consumed in the next 2 weeks anyway, so I don't really need to jar it. So we're going to go over to a hot pan, or pot. Going to add our apples. I'm going to add the spices, the cider vinegar, one cup of sugar. The sugar is actually optional. Well, you need to use at least a cup, but some people like them sweeter, some people like it tartar, so you can play with the sugar a little bit. It's going to work as a preserving agent, so you definitely want at least a cup if you're doing 2 pounds of apples. But if you have tartar apples, I'm using Pink Ladies today. If you have something like Granny Smith's or a green apple that has a tartar flavor, you can definitely up the sugar content. But that's something that you can do to taste. A lot of people have different tastes when it comes to sugar. So that's about how we do that. I'm going to go ahead and add 2 cups of water just to get the apples cooking down. And this is going to simmer on the stove for a couple hours until we have like a nice caramelized, reduced concentration of apples. And we can throw that in some jars, spread it on some toast. It's going to be fantastic. So our apple butter has been simmering for about 2.5, maybe 3 hours. I haven't actually done much to it outside of let it simmer its juices and stir it with a wooden spoon. You could absolutely use an immersion blender. You could use a potato masher. You could put this into a Cuisinart or any kind of food processor if you want to make it smoother and more reduced. I am just going to stick with a very rustic style because when you spread this on some buttery toast and whatnot, some of those chunks of fruit are delicious, and I want to make a recipe that's accessible to anybody and everybody, and a pot and a wooden spoon, something I feel like everybody has. So we're just going to go ahead and spoon this into some resealable jars. And again, if you're going to hot water can these, that's going to be a subject that we will get into more in depth later on, because you can make apple butter that is shelf stable. You can store jars, you can send it for gifts, you can do any number of things with it, but these few jars are simply going to be for home consumption and will be consumed within, a month or two, so you don't have to worry about the whole process of, making sure they're sealed and getting a proper vacuum on top of clean lids and whatnot. So anyway, we're just going to fill our jars. I'm going to go ahead and let them settle just a bit. seal them up, and I'm only using, these are just reused jars that I've had stored and rinsed, and perfect for packing up some preserves or some leftover pickles or whatnot. And actually, before I seal them, I'm going to let this cool for a little bit. But yeah, that's a perfect way to make apple butter or peach butter or pear butter or anything that you want to enjoy and make the best of what you got. So we'll see you next time on Leave No Taste, and make the most of the food you make.